Hi there and welcome to the referrals section. You know, this part of the quadrant, the network and search quadrant, is just so powerful. And it was Mark Zuckerberg who said, a referral is like the holy grail of advertising. And I reckon he's right. You know, one of the most common questions I'm asked is, how do I increase the word of mouth marketing in my business? And it is a bit like the holy grail. How do you do it? It's sort of like this unknown, intangible thing. But it's just so powerful, and the reason being is because it comes with positioning. When somebody introduces you or refers you, it comes with someone that person usually trusts. So I think there are really 4 things that make the biggest difference in being able to increase the amount of referrals for you in your business and your practice. The first one is you've really got to keep visible. Now, visibility, you might remember we talked more about in the direct contact quadrant. So this one connects directly with that one because it's all about recall. It's about remembering you. So what happens is people will either reach out to their networks or they do a Google search. And in this case, they reach out to their networks and say, who do you guys use for blah? Like, who do you guys use for as a photographer? Or who do you use for leadership programs? And the only way that they can recall you is if you've kept visible. So that's the first thing, is you've got to keep your visibility up, and that works across 2 quadrants. So we've talked a bit about that in the direct contact quadrant, but visibility is making sure your face is coming through my feed every day. I should see your face, and that makes you really easy to refer because I remember that that's what you do. The key is you have to stay on message and make sure that you're curating and all those types of things that we talked about back in the direct contact quadrant. The second thing you need to do is you need to get good at what you do. And it was Glenn Capelli, who's the speaker and well-known speaker in Australia, who said, as a speaker, you want to get good and then get known. And this is really about, if you can get good, what's going to happen is you're going to get testimonials. And those testimonials almost act like a 24/7 type referral activity, because when people see testimonials on your website, or whether it's in brochures or whatever it might be, is that testimonial, whoever wrote it, they see themselves in the testimonial. They look for who said it, what position were they, what company were they from, whoever said that testimonial, are they like me? So you want to get good so that you can get more testimonials, and of course you need to ask for them. So make sure that you're asking for testimonials, but look for ways that you can improve your offer and your service so that you get more of them, and make sure you're asking for them. The third thing that will help you to increase the amount of referrals that you get is, when you do get a referral, is you say thank you. I know it sounds really simple, but when people refer someone to you, it's obviously good manners to say thank you, but a lot of people don't, and you want to reward the person who did that. So it doesn't have to be anything massive or over the top, but I do recommend going out of your way to do something. So even if it's a personally handwritten card, a bottle of wine, movie vouchers, whatever it is, if you only have a small budget, that's fine. Just a personally written card is totally fine. The fact that you made it meaningful and personable is really important. Otherwise you can do other higher paying gifts and things like that. But the key overall is to say thank you. And in this module, I've interviewed a lady called Deb Brown. Deb Brown is an expert in gift giving, and this is really her expertise. She's based in the US, and I really like the work that she does. So she kindly agreed to be interviewed for the book, and I've put the interview here. And she's given us some really good tips to be able to increase the referrals in your practice. And the last thing that will help you increase your referrals in this quadrant is really about what are called trigger events. And trigger events are about you understanding what are the sales activities that happen before and after you sell. So, for example, let's say that your ideal customer is a HR manager, and you typically work in team building programs. Now, for a HR manager to come to you or to ask around their networks to say, who do you use, or to try and find you, there'll be a trigger event that creates that need. So the trigger event will possibly be, there might have been a situation where a leader was having some trouble with some team members, or they really identified that they had some new team members, and there was an opportunity to run some team building. Now, the trigger event is either new recruits, new leader, or there's a trigger event for that leader to possibly go to the HR manager to ask for help. So that's the trigger event, is that leader asking for help. Now, the leader doesn't necessarily pay for that program, the HR manager does, and the HR manager is your ideal customer. The trigger event that is after you, after the HR manager buys you, is that they possibly are buying the services of somebody else. So they might be buying somebody who, instead of team building, they're buying high performance and a high performance expert or something like that. And so that's often a sale that happens after you. So for you as the expert to increase your referrals, your job is to make sure that you are connected with those people who are the trigger events both before, or the sale who is before and after you. So the sale that is before you, that is the leader who is in that business. So they could be going to that HR manager saying, look, I follow this person. Is there any way that we could get them in to come and do some training for us with our team? Because they have influence, and that's a referral. And the sale after you is possibly the expert in high performance. So in their case, if somebody says, if the HR manager says to them, do you know somebody who does team building? They say, oh yeah, you need to speak to Sarah, or whatever the person's name is. So what I would suggest is you also think about what are the sales that happened, or the trigger events that happened before and after you, so that you get a referral back and a referral forwards. And so you kind of create an insurance policy around your referral network as well. And if you can do that, then of course you're going to move from expert to influencer. So in this module, you'll see some handouts there with the referral activities. Make sure you have a look at Deb Brown's work, and I look forward to hearing how you go.